Welcome to the latest webinar in 12D's training webinar series. My name is Lisa Stewart. 12D's training webinars showcase common industry challenges, taking a close look at industry best practices and how these can be implemented using 12D products. The aim of these webinars is to upskill 12D users and broaden their understanding of the capabilities of 12D products. We'll be running these webinars again regularly this year and recording them for posting through our website and on YouTube. The previous webinars from this training series, as well as the webinars from our Industry Solutions series and our What's Coming from 12D series, are all available on our YouTube channels if you missed those. During this presentation, you'll be able to type your questions along the way, as shown on the screen, and we'll answer as many as possible throughout the webinar. At the end, I'll read out some of your questions to the presenter for her insights if there's time. Today's webinar, Traverse Spreadsheets, What's New in 12D Model 15, will be presented by Sharleen Cole-Swami, a Regional Sales Manager for 12D NZ with around 10 years of experience in a range of surveying applications. Sharleen will take you through the updates made to Traverse Spreadsheets in 12D Model 15. This session will be of particular interest to surveyors in New Zealand. Over to you, Sharleen.
Thanks, Lisa, for the lovely introduction, and welcome everyone to What's New in version 15 Traverse Spreadsheet. I'd like to say thanks for making the time. And before we begin, there are a number of updates that we'll go through which are there as updates, which are there to make people's lives easier. And then there are some updates there that are in response to the requirements under Cadastral Survey Rules 2021. I've got a brief agenda for what we're going to cover today. Before we get into the Traverse Spreadsheet side of things, I'm quite keen to take everyone through, just briefly, through the version 15 user interface. It has changed, and some of you may have not moved over to version 15 quite yet, and I'd like to just take you through the new interface so it is familiar to you. Object tree, a very brief explanation of what this is and what it's going to look like on your screen, and then we can crack right into what's new in this Traverse Spreadsheet side of things. Okay, so we have the new version 15 startup menu here. As you can see, it's very much had a facelift, and we've got a number of very easy to navigate menu icons and options. You've got your last open project, which it's a nice easy way to, if you constantly working on one project, nice easy way to get into it when you open up 12D. Flicking in between projects, I have a list of your recent projects opened up, and we'll have a bit more of a deeper look in the next slide. New project, as per usual, click on it, go through, grab your settings and create your folder of projects. Open existing projects where you can browse to your network drive, etc., and your settings. And we've also got a nice new help doc there where you can access the website, our YouTube channel, which has a number of training videos. I highly recommend it, and a number of simply informative videos. Again, highly recommend you check out the YouTube channel. Lots of help there, hours and hours and hours of training. Our reference manual, rather long, but very well done, and a lovely large document of what's new in version 15. I say large because there are a number of updates in version 15, and they are fantastic. So let's get into this, and let's go and have a look at what our recent projects menu would look like. I've been clearly working on a number of training and test projects, as you can see. I've got quite a few there, and that's in terms of the recent projects menu. If you'd like to open up a project, simply double click on one of the projects. They are color coded. Blue is if the project is a version 15 project but hasn't got object tree enabled yet. you will need to migrate it to an object tree project before you use it. Black, if it's in an earlier version, you will need to migrate this to version 15 for it to come up as a different color and you'll be able to open it. Migrating is very easy, by the way. You simply click on the project and go open, and a window will pop up saying, are you sure you'd like to migrate? And if you do migrate, we will create a project where the previous version project will be stored as a old suffix, and the project will then open up with its name as it is. Green if it's a version 15 project, orange if the project is already open and hence locked. If you'd like to open up some options and have create shortcuts, rename the project, copy it, etc., simply click on the three dots and you'll have this option panel open up. These icons on the left hand side, they are themes. If there are a number of themes that have been released with version 15, think of it as a very smart workspace, if you will. Everything that you need for certain activities like survey, mortar design, or if you'd like to have a more standard look, there's the standard theme. And for those users who prefer 12D, the look of 12D as it is, there is a classic theme for you. I'm not going to dive deep into it. There is a webinar that Dylan has done already on the YouTube channel. Please, highly recommend you go and have a look at it. It will explain themes to you beautifully. So if you'd like to open, say, this design basic project in a design theme, simply click on that icon and choose a design theme to open it in. Object tree. It's a really nice, easy way to give something a structure and group the objects and put it in a list format that makes it more readable. An example that most of you will understand is the XML. If when you import an XML from Land Online, there are a number of models that get created, and in version 14, if you were to click on the plus or minus button to add or remove models, you'll just get a very long list of models. In version 15 with object tree, it is a really nice way just to categorize things, and should you want to go and turn on only points in the descriptions, for example, you can go and do that very, very easily without having to sort of figure out which model they sit in, etc. I really like object tree, and if for those of you who prefer the old look or anything like that, please just you can easily go and change it to how it used to look, and you can actually change what sort of level of tree you can see as well. I will show this to you in just one moment. So here I have a 12D model project, and I'm going in version 15, and I'm going to add some models. And as you can see, I've got some Traverse Spreadsheet models and some XML models, and there are quite a few of them. I've got every single tree folder, if you will, open, but if you click on that settings icon, you can go and change that. If you just want to see the main folders, you can do that, and so forth. If you wish to go and just have a look at a list of models, you can do it, and you'll notice on the right hand side it will tell you where in the tree it sits. So each slash, or each backslash rather, represents a tree structure. And if you'd like to go back and change it to the object tree, again, you can do that very easily by simply clicking on the object tree button right there. That was a quick fire into what object tree is and what it looks like on your 12D screen. Now, Traverse Spreadsheet time. Before we go into 12D model and play around with what's new and some of the settings, I'd just like to go through the actual Traverse Spreadsheet panel just to show you a couple of new tick box additions. So we've got a box now, a tick box called bearing correction now, and when you tick that on, you'll have the bearing correction tab open up there and your projection bearing tab open up there. And we've also got a show description tab. Now, when you enter your Traverse marks, pegs, etc., you can add your description in the Traverse block without having to go through the point utilities panel. I think that's fantastic. I myself used to forget all the time to go into the point utilities panel and add mark descriptions, so this is a lifesaver. Okay, so let's get into 12D model and have a look at some of these changes. Now, when you download 12D model, you get some standard files, and we also send you some user files, which we have kindly customized to the majority of our customers' needs. And if you require some help customizing them further, please don't hesitate to call us on the support line. All right, so let's look at some of the changes in the Traverse spreadsheet in version 15 now. Okay, let's have a look at some of these Traverse spreadsheet changes now. Before I start looking at the Traverse block itself and the bearing corrections, etc., I just want to go through the Traverse spreadsheet parameters. When you download version 15, you'll get a standard Traverse spreadsheet parameter file as part of your download, and you'll get it when you download the user files as well. What I would recommend for those of you starting off on version 15, please use the standard Traverse spreadsheet file that is shipped with the build. Have a look at it, try it out, and then go and customize it. I think there are enough changes here that would be perhaps the best way to start. We'll just briefly have a look at some of these changes. Now, not a lot has changed in this general tab. It may look very, very familiar to you. For those of you who don't play around with parameters a lot, this is where you go to turn on and off your settings for things like when you go to edit a Traverse spreadsheet, it remembers the last edited file, and things like use automatic point numbering. You can number your own, or you can just let 12D do its thing. In your data tab are some of the rules for how 12D writes your data and what tolerances it uses and how you go about drafting your Traverse spreadsheet information. You'll see some new things in here. Number one being append point number to new mark name. We'll discuss this further, but this is to help unique mark naming, which is one of the requirements of the new cadastral rules. Another thing that you'll notice here that's new is network models prefix. Now this relates directly back to the object tree. You can change this. You can change it, if you want to call things pre-calc or stage 1, etc., and not have the prefix of Traverse spreadsheets, you can. So these are all, wherever you can write, those are all editable items that you can go and change to your liking. Nothing has changed in the report tab. Observations, with regard to the object tree, we have changed how we have newly categorized how each line in the Traverse block is put into certain models. We've in response again to the cadastral survey rules, we've added new Traverse line types, which are for reinstatement. You've got reinstatement adopted, calculated, etc., and it will go into these layers called boundary, and then a folder underneath boundary called reinstated. This is all editable. Like I said, have a play around with the standard, and then when you see how it all works, you can go right ahead and customize it to your liking. I know many people like to use different colors, etc., so you can go through and change that. And your points, these are pretty standard points, the only difference in here being, again, the object tree structure. And parcels, you can add parcels or take parcels out. We haven't changed much in here other than the addition of height limited lots and height limited areas, again, which has come about in the new cadastral survey rules. Editable, change the colours, change where it goes if you like. Once you've made your changes, simply click write. And if you want to save the changes just for that single project, please put it in the current folder. If you'd like it to be available to all the other projects, then put it in the user folder, and next time you open a project or another project, it will use those parameters that you have customized for yourself. Let's now look at the Traverse Spreadsheet block and play around with some of the new changes that have been made to it. As you can see, I've got the bearing correction new tick box ticked on and our show description tick box ticked on as well. And here is our description, and like I said, enter your traverse line, detail, etc., and simply key in the description of your mark. There's no need to go into the point utilities panel anymore to do that. You can do it there as well at the end if that's what your process is, but there is a nice easy way of doing it at the time now. We've got the bearing correction tick box there, and the panel is turned on, is visible there, as is the bearing. If I turn that off now, you'll see that both the bearing correction and the final projection bearing columns disappear. Let's go through the bearing correction first. So, bit of history. As part of the previous versions, if you had a bearing correction to apply to a plan, you would apply it manually when you enter the bearing in. However, you would still put a bearing correction in the references tab. Now, if you will notice, I have got a correction of 1 minute in the correction tab in the survey information panel, and on DP 310510, and I've got adopted lines from DP 310510, and you'll notice that the 1 minute correction has been applied. That's 247.02, and with a minute correction, it's 247.03. If I wanted to change that to minute 30, I can. I'll just go set, and that will get updated immediately, and I just click on update there. If, say, that particular line there didn't have a minute 30 correction, the correction on that line was in fact 2 minutes, we won't worry so much about the misclose down at the bottom. This is just an exercise after all. Just put in 2 minutes and go update, and you'll notice that any correction entered in that column overrides what is in the survey information panel. Word trick for young players in this one: if you are bringing in Traverse Spreadsheets from another version, which you can do very easily, you simply open the Traverse Spreadsheet in this version. What you will need to do is, if you have applied any bearing corrections, please go and check them, because what you'll find is that if you've got them in the panel here, it has been applied twice. If it's a small spreadsheet, by all means, to be safe, start again. If it's a rather large one, I suggest you sit down very diligently and go through your Traverse blocks. So yeah, that's my one piece of advice if you are bringing in projects from version 14 to version 15. Not much has changed in the survey information panel. Again, your adjustment is the same. Land and line, you enter your parcel class in there, and your description and your survey number, etc. Still very, very similar. If we go back to a block where there's been some traverse lines done, let's just have a look at some of the new line types that we've added. If you simply right click on the line type, you will get a rather long list of the available types. Now with with the mapping in 12D to Lennon line, when you use a Traverse line, it will map automatically to a theodolite EDM instrument type. When you use a GPS line, it will automatically map to a GPS instrument type. So that is very, very handy to ensure you've captured your vectors correctly in LAN Online. And as mentioned previously, we've got some new line types added for reinstatement surveys, and that's what's come from the new cadastral survey rules. Another thing that's been updated to comply with the new survey rules are the mark purpose, mainly the purpose. So if you right click there now, you haven't got things like we used to, like witness marks, etc. You've simply got the options that are approved by LINS as part of the new rules. Mark types remain virtually the same, as do the mark conditions. We have added in things like impracticable to mark and search for not found, and in the mark state, very much the same in terms of what used to be there. So the main thing really is the mark purpose has changed in the new rules, and hence we've updated the Traverse Spreadsheet side of things in 12D. Right, another update in the rules is unique mark naming. So you can no longer have iron tube 1 and peg 1. They need to be unique mark names and numbers. What we've done in version 15 is if you enter in a mark, if you enter in a Traverse line and you come to your name / reference, you just add in peg, IT, whatever it is, hit enter, and the point number will be assigned as the mark number. I'll just do a very brief introduction or very brief demo of this. We'll just call it whatever, 30 degrees, 30 meters, no correction to be applied. Let's pretend it's let's pretend it's a Traverse line, and let's pretend that is a peg. You just click enter, and you will notice that that I didn't type in the 8, 12D did that automatically, just gave it the point number as the mark number. We can do that again here, call this 40 meters now, and let's call that an iron tube. So just type in iron tube and just hit enter, and a unique mark ID will be assigned to that mark. Another update, and now this is in the parcel. Now when you create a parcel, you can go into your parcel information tab, and you can lot to creator, that's all virtually the same, but now you can add in a boundary class. Great if you've got, for example, a rural irregular boundary survey with some class A boundaries and class B boundaries. You can now go and choose what the parcel boundary lines, what class the parcel boundary lines will have. So that's a fantastic new addition to version 15. There is a What's New version 15 PDF document that has been sent out and will continue to be sent out to people as they get their nodes files and download links, etc. If you haven't got it, please email us at support@12d.co.nz and we will get you a copy ASAP. If anyone's got any questions, please stick around and ask questions at the end. If you'd like to go through any of what I've shown you today in more depth, please get in touch with us at support@12d.co.nz and we will be in touch with you. Thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you enjoy version 15. I think it's very exciting. There's loads of development, far beyond what I've shown you today in terms of some of the other functionality. Again, if anyone would like to talk about it, please feel free to give us a call. Thanks. Okay, back to you, Lisa.
Thanks for that, Sharleen. I think So comprehensive that we haven't had many questions through, but for those who are still online, please feel free to send through any questions you do have, or I can email them through to Sharleen after the presentation. Thank you so much everyone for attending today, and to Sharleen for that great presentation. If you think of questions after this session has ended, you can always email them through too, and I'll put you in touch with Sharleen. We're also going to put the recording from today's webinar on the webinars page of our website and on YouTube, and I'm going to email everyone who registered a link to the video when it's ready on our emails and social media for details of upcoming webinars. Sharleen, did you have anything else to add today?
No, Lisa, I'm happy for anyone who's got questions just to email me at support@12d.co.nz, and for those Kiwis, I'm sure they know the number off by heart, so please call through and fire any questions.
Absolutely. I've received a couple of questions about when 12D Model 15 is coming out, and I think that's dependent on your region at the moment a little bit. Do get in touch with your local reseller for information about that. We are starting to roll that out to customers on maintenance. Sharleen, I think you've got a bunch of users over in NZ using it already, don't you?
Yeah, we're rolling it out similar to you guys, customers and maintenance, and regionally as well. If anyone's got any questions or would like to get onto version 15, just get in touch with us.
Yes, for sure. We've got another question here from Mark about adding a description, but I might need to email you that one, Sharleen. Adding a description to the first point. I don't know if that's one we can demonstrate live at the moment.
I know exactly what he means, and I think sorry, my screen's just having a bit of a fun time when I share it, but it'd be best to do it in the point utilities panel.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, if he wants to email me, I'm happy to show him how, yeah.
No worries, I've got Mark's details and I'll send you that straight after this. So thank you all again for attending today. That concludes our presentation and we hope to see you at future webinars.